Hello YouTube, this is Hunter Surge, here with another day of Moonrise Reveals. Let's get into it. We have some very exciting stuff for me personally. It is not what I expected. As I said yesterday, I was really expecting today to be the rest of the Wind Reveals because of Winjun, based on the pattern that we've seen with previous content creator reveals, but that isn't what happened at all. Instead, we got Frost! We got Frost, baby! We got Frost! I really love archetypes that are like about like underworld recursion. So like Frost has always been the element that I'm most likely to like find a home in. It's just always going to be that way. So let's talk about it. We have a bunch of Kickstarter stuff, not very important. We got a look at the Full Art Eddie Stellar. Very cool. Very nice. Everyone's going to get one of these now. Awesome. I feel like this Stellar has been made intentionally a bit less like plain white. But let's not worry about that. Maybe for the best. Okay, so Frost. First we have Frost, a Frost Rune, probably the only Frost Rune in the set. Aurora Borealis. This is a counter rune that costs 1 Frost. You discard a card in order to enchant up to 1 Frost from your underworld to your field, and return up to 1 Frost from your underworld to your spirit deck. So this isn't too bad of a card. This card is effectively a heal 1, because you pay 1, get 1 from drop back onto your field, where it can be used to pay off for stuff or trigger on receives, and also it puts 1 back into the spirit deck. So you're effectively healing 1. It's a bit delayed because it's a counter rune and it costs you an extra card. But like by the nature of what kind of deck Frost is, that is something that you can turn to your advantage. Frost doesn't really have much in the way of receivers at the moment, but as we get more good receivers, that part of the effect will be able to become more and more relevant, which is very, very cool. So that's it's cool. I think there can be some applications for it, but like I do think it's still going to be relatively difficult to justify a stall on this. If we get a receiver at some point that is able to like do disruption stuff, like something like a Mudlet, or even better, like if we got something that's like stat modifying or something like that, like something like a Nobby that we could trigger on our opponent's turn, this becomes even more powerful. But otherwise, like it being a counter rune is not like super relevant, and we would much rather it be an invoke. Another thing I want to note on this is that one of the things that Frost really enjoys is having runes that can be used to just dump Frost into the underworld to get Cryoling online, because Cryoling Cryovern is one of the most powerful play lines in the entire element. So like runes that help you get there are really appealing. For that purpose, we tend to run a lot of Omni runes, but it has been stated that we are moving away from Omni runes, and we can see that reflected in the card design in this set. So ideally, we want to see more and more good Frost runes that are going to help us get to that spot. And unfortunately, we're not really seeing that here. This is actually the exact opposite. Healing is something that is very good for a deck that spends as much as Frost to be able to get. Like, the prospect of going like Catarant, Flipper, Borealis, heal 1, and then also put 1 onto Catarant to then heal up 2 more is like very, very strong. Like you spend 2 and heal 5 with 2 spirits on board at the end of that exchange. Very, very nice. But like it I would have really preferred something that like helps us spend out to get Cryoling online. But this isn't too bad. I can see some applications for this. I can see it potentially going places. Also, Ectopossum. Ectopossum being able to be procced by this is very, very nice. Very cool. I believe you can also trigger a Morphrost Bat form on your opponent's turn, which could be super relevant. Could be really, really good. Let me pull up the Morphrosts real quick to remind myself of what they all do. Morphrost. Okay, so what does anything on play? No, you're only during main phase. Yeah, this one is on discard. Yeah. When this is discarded, you can special cast a Morphrost that's not bat form from your underworld. So this inherently makes bat form a lot better of a card, because we can use it to special cast Morphrost from our underworld during our opponent's turn. Okay, this one is the Search. And we can turn this into like a body blocker. Yeah, that's alright. This doesn't do anything. And this doesn't do anything inherently either. But I can do stuff like, so one thing, we can re-enchant onto Morphrost Terror, so that Morphrost Terror is debuffing stuff more. So that's a thing it can do. There's some stuff there. I want to check real quick. Anything that discard? Is there anything that triggers on discard that I'm unfamiliar with? I don't think there is. We'd probably be seeing more exploration with it if there was. No, okay. There's nothing that procs like that. We of course have the Ectoplasm from this set. Let's go over this set real quick to review. Just scan through it real quick. Yeah. So yeah, Ectoplasm will be able to be special cast. That could be really, really strong. Since this is a rune isn't taking your cast, you can cast this out and then ascend into a bigger body. But you're using Lunars for that, and I don't think we've seen any indication of a Frost Lunar Ascension 9. And this is double Lunar too, so like that's something to be aware of. We can of course use it to like dump lunar phases. Oh, this could be a mechanism of discarding Starbit. You'd have to make those elements work together somehow, but it is a way of getting Starbit out of your hand. So that's something that might care about that. And I don't think there's anything else, right? All of the Lunar Phase discard effects care about them being discarded by Lunar Phase specifically, so it will not work there. Yeah, okay. Okay, so the synergy is really right now primarily with Morphrost Bat Form, which is good. It does give Bat Form some real use cases with the deck now, which is very good to see. But then very important is the new Morphrost that got revealed. Also, some new receiver being teased here. But I think yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like even through the blur, I'm pretty sure. So there's a creator reveal, which is a Frost receiver over here, and yeah, looking at it, yeah, that it looks like it's the same card. So this is just talking about the receiver that we'll be talking about in a bit. That Shady Penguin revealed. And then we have Morphrost Scorpio form. This is a 2/2 1-cost Frost. When you cast this Morphrost, you can discard a Morphrost in order to target an opponent's Elestral and set space defense to 0 until the end phase. During this turn's end phase, you can expend 2 Frost in order to destroy that Elestral. So this, of course, does two things. For one, it's just a free way to clear out any big defenders like a rabbit. Of course, is the big, very common one. But then, if it's an attacker and you can't get over it, well, then in end phase, you get to basically just PTA it. And like the crazy part about this card is when it's taking out like a 2-cost or 3-cost, because when you're doing that, then it's way more efficient than a PTA in those cases. And because this is just on cast, you can like revive it during your opponent's turn using Bat Form and trigger it again there. So like there's some very powerful stuff going on with this card. This card could be enough to get Morphrost out of the gutter. I don't really have enough experience actually playing Morphrost to get a good feel about what it really needs. But my understanding is that it dies super hard to suppression, because everything about its board is like super dependent on like having your effects still be active because the bodies are small. So a card like this is just removal and making bad form a more real card, so that you can like bring it out after your thing has been suppressed. Could be like sufficient to get the deck to a more real place. So I would be excited to see that explored. It seems pretty solid. This card seems very, very good. Like, removal, especially in the current format, is just extremely powerful. It doesn't happen until end phase, unfortunately, so you can't get in for damage. But removal is still removal. You're still like keeping board control, which is very, very strong. I wonder. One thing I do wonder about is if this proc at the end phase is considered a separate effect, and if you can Gorgon's Gaze or suppress it before end phase to stop that effect from going off. Because this card becomes a lot more powerful if they have to invest the Gorgon's Gaze when you initially cast it, rather than getting to wait until the end phase and do it there, or suppress you at any point during the turn. I don't know. Interesting stuff. Stuff to think about. Much to think about. And I believe that is it for... Yeah, that's it for the Frost Reveals. Alright. Of course, if Morphrost becomes real again, Polzer is a really nice card from Daybreak that slots in pretty well to the deck with its dumping everything to the underworld. Like a 7 attacker for 1 is just very, very nice, even if it's vulnerable to suppression. And then we have another Frost Reveal from a Crater Reveal from Shady Penguin. This is Snowlet. We can probably safely assume that this is the first stage of the Blistrix Ascension line. So let's pull up the video where we got a clear shot of Blistrix before we talk about that, so that we can remember what Blistrix does. That was in the Elestrals Clash video. Where is it? Here it is. Okay. So, Blistrix is a 3-cost, 2 Frost, 1 Wind, 12/6. That when it's sent from your deck to the underworld, you can special send your Astral to it. You can return 3 Elestrals from your underworld to the bottom of your deck in order to destroy a card. I'm very excited for this card. This card is super cool. I like it a lot. I really hope its deck is good. I'm a bit less optimistic about it now that because when we first were seeing it, we couldn't quite make out whether it was saying send it over Elestral or over Astral specifically, or over a specific name. I was a lot more high on the card when we thought it was just any Elestral, when we thought it could be just any Elestral. Needing to ascend over a specific name that is likely a 2-cost makes the card a lot worse. However, there's the possibility, especially based on Snowlet, as we're going to talk about, that Astral has a similar effect of being able to special ascend. Now, again, having to go over Snowlet is like not ideal. However, we can do like First Light stuff there. We could potentially like splash in Windjin into this archetype, if First Light is lining up well for this deck. So you know, I like this. I like this deck's concept a lot. I like these sorts of like self-mill payoffs, these sorts of things a lot. They're always some of my favorite things in card games. So I'd love to see this be pretty strong. So Snowlet is a 4/2 1 Frost Elestral that when it receives 1 or more Frost, you can send the top 3 cards from your deck to your underworld. So it's just a mill 3 on receive. One thing that's super notable to me, and this is weird, it has a 4 attack stat. Hey, let's take a minute. Let's take a minute real quick. Let's look at look up Frost One cost Elestral. How many 4 stats do you see? The answer is, I don't think there are any. Frigicup. Frigicup is like the only one, if I recall correctly. Yeah. So this is a weird thing with Frost where the 4 stat in attack, let alone the 5 stat, is extremely rare. It's just not common at all. And it's actually kind of really frustrating. So just seeing a 4 stat on this thing makes me pretty happy. That alone makes me pretty happy about it. Blistrix doesn't say anything about Blistrix doesn't say anything about what turn it can happen on, right? Okay, it doesn't. So you could re-enchant onto Snowlit, assuming that Aspro has a similar effect to Blistrix, that's a special send when you mill it. Assuming that's the case, then there's some cool stuff you could end up doing there. Yeah, that's pretty alright. That's pretty cool. That's not too bad. Yeah, maybe there's something there. There might be something there. Maybe. I could see it. I could see something happening there. Alright. That's something to keep an eye on. I'm really excited for this Ascension line to get revealed. I hope we get it soon. But I also hope we see Winjin's Ascension too. Because like if we end up depending on First Light to do stuff, then a card like Winjin that loves First Light a lot, and also Kokore, we still need to see that card that we got teased in the tournament pack early opening that A-Drive did on stream. Those are all like First Light related, so we could see like this weird Frost, Wind, Solar package that's all like, yeah, we're getting big payoffs off First Light. That could be cool. That could be neat to see. That's going to be it for today. I'm very excited for Frost stuff. Please give me good Frost cards. More Frost becoming good would be really nice. I wouldn't mind exploring that archetype. I just feel more comfortable with Cryo Rhino than the Morphrost engine deck that's been running around. I just don't feel nearly as comfortable with that deck. But I would love to be able to tinker around with that stuff because like underworld toolboxing, underworld payoffs, those sorts of things are always my jam in card games, and I really hope we get something more along those lines here. With that said, this is going to be Hunter Surge signing off.